مساء الخير جميعا. طبعا نبدأ على طول. يوم حامي، ليلة حامية، كل شيء متوقع خلال هذه الساعات. طبعا قاسم محمد ترجم إن شاء الله، والله بترجم إن شاء الله. حنا الحلقة هذه بالذات من يوم بدينا كل خبر نترجمه على طول. ويلكم كريس اند ديف.
مساء النور.
مساء النور، مساء الخيرات.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Shoot, Chris. What we have?
Okay, so the latest, as reported by Sky, that the Diego Carlos deal is moving in a positive direction. It's not done yet, but it's moving in the direction of completion.
Okay. So when you said moving in our direction tonight to play in Watford.
Wait, I don't think it'll happen tonight.
No.
But what you might see today and tomorrow is it's been finalised with Sevilla and Diego Carlos, with a possibility he'll sign next week, I would think.
Yeah.
طبعا خبر السكاي انه دييغو كارلوس يعني في اقتراب او ممكن الصفقه تتم، لكن مش اليوم يعني للاسف. قد يكون الاسبوع المقبل يعني، لكن انا احس انها ممكن تتم اليوم اذا فعلا الاخبار ايجابيه. Alright, next.
Yes, as Tom Dixon points in the chat, Donny van der Beek has reportedly been offered to Newcastle this month, because obviously he's out of favor at Man United, not really getting playing time, and is a young player that has shown lots of promise from coming from Ajax, and being a player that's maybe being kind of wasted at Man United, and might do a job for us.
طبعا دوني فان دي بيك يعني ممكن، يعني تكلمنا عليه كثير اليوم. توم ديكسون هنا يقول انه يعني ممكن يجي نيوكاسل هذا الشهر. هذه اخبار جديده. محور ممتاز، مظلوم في مانشستر يونايتد. الهويه في مانشستر يونايتد ضائعه، ممكن يلقى فرصه له. طبعا قالوا انه بروسيا دورتموند برضو مهتم، ممكن ينتقل لهم بس بالاعاره، مع اني انا ما اتوقع. هو يبغى يثبت نفسه في الدوري الانجليزي فيرجع المانيا. ليش يعني؟ هذا يعني هو يبغى يثبت انه يعني موضوع عدم نجاحه في مانشستر فقط مشكله مع النادي. اوكي، what else?
All right. Let's see what else do we have. Like I just told you on our spaces, the Ekatike, it sounds like that Rance is coming down on the valuation, because remember the couple of nights ago I gave you some like ridiculous terms that Rance was asking for. It sounds like they're coming down on their terms, but nothing's close to agreement yet. It does seem like the player wants to come, which is always one obstacle. Of course, Newcastle supposedly wants him, and so like in some of the other deals, the remaining obstacle is to agreeing a deal with his club Rance to bring him in. The latest that I saw, I think from last night, was that they're only about 5 million euros off in their valuation. Rance may be asking for like 25 million euros, and Newcastle is offering 20. So it seems like when they're that close, and it doesn't seem to be like some of these other deals, like with Botman or Carlos, where the price just keeps going up when they get close. It does sound like this deal is reasonably close. I wouldn't expect it to be done for him tomorrow, for him to come on Saturday, but looks like it could be done next week.
Yeah, but Sky was saying even before, Sky said that that Rams are asking 60 million. Now, from what you're hearing, 25 and 20 million is quite different from what you're hearing on Sky. So there's no way they can expect for a kid. He might be up and coming, and he's playing well, but he is playing in League One. He's not playing. He's not playing in.
Dave, I think the 60 million for Batshale from Monaco.
Also right, Batshale, right? Right, got you.
Or are they both asking for 60?
My error.
No, I thought they both asking for the price.
Not my error.
طبعا احنا نتكلم عن اللاعب اكتيكي من هيوغو من ريمز. رغبة اللاعب يعني زي ما تحدثنا من سبيس في تويتر قبل قليل، اللاعب يرغب في نيوكاسل. النادي يعني طمعان في مبالغ أكبر. جلبنا للاعب كريس وود هذا خفف علينا الضغوط، أننا بالحاجة الملحة أنه نستقطب مهاجم. I have here Majdi saying what does it mean he been offered to Newcastle? Is it through agent or via club?
Everything is agents. Everything is an agent, a player and agent driven business. The clubs do hold out for the right transfer money, but if a player wants to go, the agent's going to make that happen more often than not.
اي على الاغلب مجدي انه ايجنت، يعني ما صعب النادي يعرض، يعني هو الايجنت يعني الوكلاء الاعمال. جوني سيد اسال كريس وديف عن تحسين مرافق التدريب. يعني جوني حتى اللاعبين ما يسالون عن مرافق التدريب. احنا كلنا الحين talking about transfer. Johnny says ask Dave and Chris about improving the training facilities, and I said it's not the time, but I know it's transfer. Even the players they didn't ask, but have you some answer for Johnny?
Yeah, I mean I drive past the training ground every day. And this morning I passed Miggy this morning. I was waving to Miggy this morning while he was on his phone driving, of course, you know what I mean? But the training ground, yes, it's due for an upgrade, but it won't happen for at least another 2 years yet.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things with our training ground, from where it's situated, the pitches are too hard. The pitches are too hard, which is why we get a lot of muscle injuries. Which is one of the reasons why we need a new pitch, new training area, because it's just old farmland, you see. So it's the ground is just too hard for them to train on. So these professional footballers these days have got to have the right sort of grass and the right sort of sand and ice cubes in their bath rather than iced water. So yes, training ground will be improved in the next 2 years, 3 years. But get the team right first.
طبعا كريس ديف يقول انه اليوم راح الملعب التدريب يا جوني، وحتى شاف ميغيل الميرون وسلم عليه كذا في السياره. طبعا يقول لك انه الملعب يحتاج فعلا يحتاج صيانه، ارضيه الملعب فيها مشاكل، لكن الان يعني هذا اكيد شيء راح يشتغلون عليه، لكن اكيد يعني زي ما قلت لك انه مش الان، يعني الان في امور اهم بالنسبه لنيوكاسل خصوصا مع سوق الانتقالات. We'll come to the comment and the other question later on. Anything else, Chris, regarding any links?
No. Well, I do have other things but I wanted to post up this thing from Keith Patterson, which I thought was kind of interesting.
All right.
And he says, isn't this fun? It's all happening. We're still searching for 5 more: striker, center midfield, left back, and 2 center backs. And we want them in this window. We pushed the final part of the deal to bring young Hugo Ekitike in. People in France say he's going to be a big player. Reminds me of Thierry Henry. That's a big comparison. Obviously, the lad's 19 years old, and we don't want to say you're the next Shearer, you're the next Thierry Henry, or you're the next Mbappe, even the next Mbappe. But sounds like there's a real player in there, even though I hadn't heard of him. I don't know about you guys. I hadn't heard of him before last week.
Yeah, even for me, I'm just concentrating about Premier League. So yeah. طبعا نتكلم عن تغريدة الأستاذ القدير المعروف كيث باترسون، تغريدة يتكلم فيها عن اللاعبين متوقعين قدومهم نيوكاسل، لاعب قلب دفاع، ظهير أيسر، لاعب وسط ومهاجم، تقريبا 5 لاعبين برأيه الشخصي انه متوقع جلبهم لنيوكاسل. بالنسبه لإتيكي يعني ما نبغى نقول انه اللاعب يعني كثير يقول لك نكس مبابي، ولا قالوا لنفس انه تري انري سابقا، يعني ما نبغى اللاعب يعني، بس المشكله هذا الاعلام احيانا ينفخ اللاعب ويعطي اللاعب ويكبر راس اللاعب. احيانا اللاعب احيانا لما يكون شاب هذا ياثر عليه من ناحيه يعني ضعف التركيز. شفنا احنا كلنا ولك، والمدح اللي جاء شفنا الحين ولك كيف يؤدي. I think from your smile you have something, Chris.
not anything done, but interesting update from our friend Luke Edwards, where he says, I don't think there will be any more signings made before Watford, which I have to kind of agree with. Any progress is with players based abroad, and that is also proving slow again. Hope is to sign a center back on a permanent deal next week, and then pause to allow market, particularly loans, to open up. Because that's one thing he makes a good point. We haven't heard about any loan ideas. Normally loans happen in the end of the window. Again, when we're talking about another show, when Newcastle will be in Riyadh or in Saudi Arabia at the end of this month. And then as far as the one other thing I want to mention is, so far both of the players we've signed have been from the CAA agency. So they've both Trippier and Wood represented by the same agents, and we found out about Wood's release clause from the same agents. And then as far as the people who are available from this, who are represented by the same agency, I'll just give you a couple names. There's Dele Alli. So they represent Heung-min Son, James Maddison, Wilfred Zaha, Dele Alli, Kyle Walker, Eberechi Eze, Kyle Walker-Peters, Kieran Trippier, and of course Chris Wood. So
don't forget Jetro Williams. I know you don't rate him, but the fact is Jetro has been.
Yes,
Jetro was a hard worker for us, and I thought he was hard done by.
I just hadn't scrolled down because it's listed by transfer fee, so I hadn't scrolled down. I hadn't scrolled down to Danny Rose, who was a disaster at our club, but Jetro Williams is an interesting player.
طبعا الصحفي لوك ادواردز اللي جاب خبر او الكسر او جاب السبق الصحفي لكريس وود قبل 3 أيام، على الاغلب يقول انه ما في صفقات لهذه الليله للاسف، او قبل مباراه واتفورد فيما يبدو. لكن الشيء الايجابي انه صفقه مدافع ان شاء الله راح تتم قبل الاسبوع القادم، وبعدها يعني ما ادري هو يرى او انه يتوقع انه راح يحين وقت الصفقات الاعاره بعد اتمام صفقه المدافع بشكل دائم. ايضا ذكر كريس انه في مجموعه من اللاعبين، احنا كلنا نعرف قصه وكلاء الاعمال، وكيل اعمال تريبير هو نفسه وكيل اعمال كريس وود. شفنا اليوم تغريده تبين انه دعايه واضحه لوكاله الاعمال. عندهم مجموعه من اللاعبين اللي يتولون اداره اعمالهم، مثل سون الكوري، ديلي الي، ماديسون زاها، كيل ووكر، ايزي ولاعبين اخرين. ايضا ديف قال انه في لاعب سابق في نيوكاسل اسمه جيترو ويليامز، كان لاعب ممتاز صراحه في الفريق، فكثير من الجماهير يتمنون عودته. Do you think we can get صلاح Liverpool can't pay his wages.
definitely we have. No, I don't think there's any chance. But we have to stay up because he's definitely not coming if we go down.
Okay. McHول says, why Joelinton? Why we should make Joelinton play in the center back. He did great in Manchester United. I think this is temporarily McHول. يعني شكل مؤقت كان في مباراة مانشستر، صعب يكون بشكل دائم. What do you think for a new position, of a new role of Joelinton? Is it enough for us, Dave and Chris?
Yeah, I think he's doing a job in the midfield. I wouldn't. I disagree with your comments. I wouldn't move him back to center back. He's doing a job as a sort of a holding midfielder, like a box to box midfielder. We didn't know that that's what we had when we brought him. We gave him the number 9 shirt and stuck him up front, like often as a lone striker, and that I think that just did a job on his confidence. In the offseason, he changed into the number 9 shirt, gave it to Callum Wilson, took the number 7 shirt from Andy Carroll, and settled into the playing a little deeper in the midfield. He's been our man of the match several games. Probably been our most consistent player of Eddie Howe's tenure. So fair play to Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall and his team for his backroom team for recognizing that there's a player in Joelinton and starting to get something out of him. And maybe he'll never be valued worth the 40 million, but he's certainly increased his value and makes that transfer still Newcastle's record signing. And I wouldn't expect that. I would expect he's going to be the record signing until next summer. Hopefully we'll break the record then. But for being Newcastle's record signing, he went from a joke Linton to J7, and he's doing a job. And fair play to the lad. He's always grafting. We don't expect him to score 20 goals, but to put in a shift to do the grafting, that's what we can all we can ask for, and he's doing a job.
What do you think, Dave? Joelinton, new position.
Can't say anything else than what Chris has said. My opinion of him was he was a cart horse. Couldn't trap a ball. Couldn't trap a bag of cement. But from the day
his feet were stuck in cement.
Yeah, but from the day Eddie Howe got his hands on him, he's been a revelation. And I apologized, on Twitter after his first couple of games and his new role. And I think he's found his niche. He's you can see he's talented, and he's got to be facing a certain way and doing a certain thing, and it's working wonders. So let's not change it. The man has been man of the match in the last few games, and I think he could well be the foil that Chris Wood needs, because if Chris Wood gets the balls in the box and is being able to bring them down and knock them down, then there's players like Joelinton and there's players like Almiron and Maxi who are going to be there to pick them balls up, And I think it's if Woody doesn't get it, then certainly the other 3 are going to score. So, but leave Joelinton where he is. He's doing the job. Keep him where he is.
طبعا كريس وديف يدافعون عن جويلينتون يا مكحول، وعجبهم كثير المركز اللي لعب فيه ويرون انه ممكن يستمر. طبعا هذا رأيهم ونحترمه جدا. في كثير من جماهير نيوكاسل تحب جويلينتون وترى انه اعاد اكتشاف نفسه في نيوكاسل عكس ما كان مع ايام سيف بروس. لكن انا رأيي الشخصي ما يعجب النيوكاسليين، وسبق قلتها واكلت على راسي وبقولها الحين. بس اكيد هو حتى ديف يقول انه حصل على احسن مباراة، احسن لاعب في مباراتين سابقتين على ما اعتقد. لكن انا يعني هو في تعلق في اللاعبين، لكن ان شاء الله راح نجيب يعني لاعبين بيكونون افضل من جولينتون برايي الشخصي. ابو ريتاج يقول في صفقات مضمونه او اشاعات. والله الاشاعات قاعده كل شيء ممكن والله يا ابو ريتاج، مع انه الحين مستبعد انه يكون في صفقه، لكن انا اعتقد راح يصير فيه. ليل improve the first team. This is what we're doing now actually. Uh, we ask the guys this question. We don't think, no, maybe there is no sign for before Watford game. Congratulations to all of you. Second player is here, and hopefully 3 sooner than later.
I just want to say one thing before I forget. One thing that sort of stood out for me from the introductory press conference of Chris Wood today was he was asked about players that he had a previous relationship with. Of course, he played with Trippier before when they were both really young at Barnsley, I believe. But the player that stood out for me, where he singled out, he mentioned Jeff Hendrick, and he said that Jeff Hendrick is looking to be more involved with the club going forward and to get a chance. And we haven't seen any kind of Joe Linton type transformation of Jeff Hendrick. I think he's, we've seen what he can do, and I wonder whether that was sort of a nod that his days at the club are numbered, because I just feel like he, at this point, he's just taking up a roster spot, and if we do make a lot of moves in this window, we've got to clear out space, and one of the first people on my list to go would be Jeff Hendrick. So I thought that was a little curious that Chris Wood mentioned Jeff Hendrick in this press conference today.
What the latest on Todd Cantwell?
Nothing since the other day. So the only thing is we all know he didn't play for Norwich the other night. But there's been no news, no rumors, no speculation. So that's normally means it's a good thing, because there's obviously something going on in the background. But we'll see what we'll see. He's still a player that we're looking at, but no firm moves on him yet.
Why do you think we didn't get any another player from the agent, our friend agent?
I think, I don't know. I mean, it's unusual to get 2 from the same agent in one window. To get 3, there might be some sort of Premier League investigation of collusion or something. One thing that's sort of notable about practice today is that Paul Dummett is back training with the team. So obviously we're trying to bring in center backs and stuff like that, but we do have a little bit of cover there with Dummett coming back. So again, it's probably not a guy that I see figuring in the club going forward, but with all the injuries and COVID that we've had, it's good to see at least some players recovering. And also in the photos today, it seemed to show that Jamal Lewis was practicing. So we haven't heard of any left backs linked to us since Dina signed for Villa. So it's, I guess, positive that we at least have our starting left back if we don't improve that position in this window.
طبعا كريس يقول يعني انه بيصير في تحقيق لو كل شوي جبنا لاعب من الجنسي، ما هي لعبه هي الشغله. طيب وايضا ما في يعني انه ممكن يشارك لسيلز دوميت يعني جاهزين. ما ارتبطنا بأي مدافع أيسر من سالفة لوكاس دين اللي انتقل إلى أستون فيلا. Lads, do we have enough players to win Watford game, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
We have, based on the state of the Watford squad, and that we've obviously added 2 really good signings to our squad. I think it's, you can never say it's 100%, but I'm more than like 90% that we'll beat Watford on Saturday.
Dave, how does remind me, how does it work? We've obviously had 2 incomings and no outgoings. We can carry more than the 25-man limit until the end of the month, but at the end of the month we have to register 25.
We've got to register 25 at the end of the month. We've got to bring that back down to 25.
But they can play and stay in the club even if they are not out from the 25.
Yeah, but they've got, but for them to play in the Premiership, we've got to have a squad of 25.
Yeah, and the only exception is like Matty Longstaff doesn't count because he's under 21. Yeah,
but as well, you'll see one of the goalkeepers going off that list for definite.
Yeah,
so that's going to free up one space, and there'll be players who are going to be going out definitely. So there'll be spaces. That's all going to be sorted out, and they'll all those players will get named at the end of the season. Will include the 2 lads, but there's going to be a few going off. Definitely going to be a few going out. And if they go out on loan, if they go out on season-long loans, then they come off that list as well. So
Dubravka injured?
I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that, no.
And the only player that we've heard anything about being linked to going out is Fabian Schär, who I would hold on to, for now. I mean, we don't until we get some more center backs in. I'm a fan of Fabian Schär, and so unless we get like 3 or 4 signings more, I think he's still going to be have a part to play on the squad going forward.
Great question from Makhul. He say, any other player in Premier League can be break or have release clause as long as all the clubs trying to take advantage of us by increasing their prices.
I'm sure that Nicky Hammond is keen on searching for players' release clauses because in the past, the only time we ever heard about release clauses was when our players had artificially low release clauses, like we lost Mikel Merino because they paid Real Sociedad paid his release clause. I'd love to have Mikel Merino back. Haven't heard any links to him, but it's quite a different world to be hearing about rather than hearing about our low release clauses. To be hearing about that the club can basically afford anyone's release clause except for Mbappe, Haaland, Messi, Ronaldo, and
the like.
The like.
I was going to say something. Must have been a like. It's gone.
It'll come back.
It's okay. طبعا كريس يقول انه نيك هاموند المستشار اللي تم توقيع معاه لتولي صفقات الشتاء بشكل مؤقت لنيوكاسل هو تقريبا المسؤول عن بحث عن اللاعبين سواء في قيمة كسر عقد أو لا. يعني هو المسؤول عن تولي هذا الملف علشان يتفرغ الإدارة والمدرب لأعمالهم الأخرى. Johnny asked any defensive midfielder coming because we really need this. We hear about سمعنا عن Van de Beek and Wijnaldum. Do you think we'll get one of them or someone else?
Possibly.
Probably on loan.
Yeah, on loan. And I would say
Which one?
At this point, probably more so Van der Beek. It sort of sounds like Genie Wijnaldum is over us and doesn't want to join our exciting project.
What about Van de Beek?
Yeah.
Yes, he's the more likely of the two to join on loan.
What about competition between Borussia Dortmund, as mentioned today? For me, I think he will still in Premier League want to prove himself. That's just me.
Who?
Today, the news, Van de Beek being offered to Borussia Dortmund. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Okay. So, okay, that's all what we have from comments. Anything else? Any news in last 2 minutes? No?
Yeah. Just stories and rumors going around about not to do with transfers, but to do with ground expansion. It would appear that there is some rumor going around regarding Strawberry Place and the land behind the Gallagher end now being back in the hands of the club. Unfortunately, that's from what I hear from Mr. Patterson, or what we've read from Mr. Patterson, is that at the moment it's that the people who own the leases for that land are retaining it because of financial guarantees and such like. But that title is now available. It would be available if we wanted to buy it. Now, if that comes off, then that could solve some of our issues regarding the ground being expanded. Now, that would give us the opportunity to develop that land and obviously increase the size of St. James's Park. But it would probably mean a lot of work going on, and the ground is actually turned. They'll have to turn the ground completely. So we'll see. It's just one of those things that's been rumoured. So that could be one of the best transfers we ever do when we transfer the title of that land back to St. James's.
Yes.
تحدث طبعا ديف عن آخر يعني الأخبار الحين الجارية حاليا. جاء خبر عن توسعة أو تطوير التدريبات في أرض حول مكان السترابري حول الملعب، ممكن يستخدم في توسيع ملعب أو مرافق نادي نيوكاسل. أيضا there is a question by مكحول, what do you think, lads, of the next coming referee or Watford referee?
I'm not in the business of paying attention to who's the referee. I think that
كريس يقول غير مهتم بالتحكيم عادة.
As long as it's not Mike Dean.
Yeah.
على الأقل إنه ما هو مايك دين ديف يقول. طيب. Okay. Anything else before we wrap up, Chris and Dave? Any links? So should we give up? No signing tonight?
No, nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight.
So I can go and watch a movie. I really long time I didn't watch a movie.
Keith and the NFC Matters lads are talking about links to Luka Jovic from Real Madrid. But that's
who said that?
NFC Matters.
NFC Matters.
Yeah, like Steve
في إشاعة إنه لوكا جوفيتش
and Mitch and
احنا تكلمنا إنه ممكن بما إنه سوبر إسباني في الرياض ممكن يصير في خبر تعاقدات. حكينا يعني هذه إشاعات على الأقل، حكينا هذا الشيء قبل يومين، وفعلا اليوم جت إشاعات إنه لوكا يوفيتش مهاجم ريال مدريد ممكن ينضم لنيوكاسل. طبعا احنا كنا متلخبطين بأي لوكا مودريتش، لكن هو يبدو لوكا جوفيتش. يمكن شوية كلام. Any expected player do you think we can have a signings we never heard of, or he must be one of the group we heard of? I think it must be the one of the group because we've been linked to all players in the world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
يعطيك العافية. شكرا أنت الحلو والله، شكرا لك. Vihalovic scored again tonight. I think this player, even he's not interested in Arsenal, so we didn't know what's going on with the latest with this player. Nothing, I think, regarding Newcastle. Thank you.
We can start cutting some of these players from the list of our wants. I think players like blah 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 blah, what he's called. We can cut his name from the list.
Blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of players like now we can start distance ourselves from. Let's concentrate on the ones we can afford and the ones we can bring through.
Yep. Okay. How are the lads?
How are the lads? Thank you. See you tomorrow.